Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lethal Sales. We're so happy you're here. Thanks for coming tonight. The topic is AI and how is it so useful in so many business applications and how we depend upon it, and how so many new things are happening that are making our lives easier. But on the other hand, how it's kind of taking over spaces that we thought were uh, inhabited by humans, but are now inhabited by a lot of bots and non-humans. So I think Mike Larkin's going to start tonight, aren't you, Mike?
You always do that. Sure. What's going on with AI is there's still a lot of fear out there. And um the fear of the unknown, you know,
Hmm.
in the media, people are uh touting how this one got ripped off and how this company got hacked, and it's all over the news. I tend to focus on the positive. Is what can it do to advance businesses and humanity? We're just focused on staying in our lane, and the platforms and the marketing side of it are all done. Now it's just adding the shiny objects to the different platforms, or the features and benefits to each platform. But the platforms are done. They got the keywords, they got the website builder, you got the media sites, they got the auto bloggers and the viral videos and all that kind of stuff. It's all done. So, so either they're going to get on board, because I go to Simon Sinek and his why video, start with why, and he features the graph, going the bell-shaped graph, and we're just getting past the 2.5% innovators, and then the 13.5% early adopters. We're just on that gap right now. So either the earlier adopters are going to win, because it's not going anywhere, and then the laggards are going to miss out and go, what the heck just happened? And it's going to happen fast.
Right on.
Thank you,
True that.
Russell.
True that, baby.
I'll pass the baton on to Russell.
No, I'm preoccupied at the moment, so I'm gonna have to pass at the
Okay.
time. But thank you for thinking of me. I love you, man.
Uh, I'll take the baton, Mike.
Okay, Gary.
AI in its capacity teaches us how to do things correctly. And unfortunately, the auto industry, they doubt everything first until it's proven that it's successful. But we're seeing it so useful every day in every application, in digital marketing. I mean, I don't know, a year ago, if we wanted to make a video and promote ourselves, how expensive or how many people actually knew that you can go to YouTube and you can download your own video and upload it on YouTube and then post it on social media? I mean, I would have never thought that I was going to be able to do that, actually be capable of doing it. But now we get to see the functions of AI, and AI is doing all the heavy lifting on everything that we do. And the more that people spend time and learn about AI, the better off they're going to be, because as Mike said, it's not going away. So now, as useful operations in the auto industry is a lot of redundancies. With the redundancies, people don't want to do that. So now you can teach people or have people man AI so it doesn't become so redundant and that it becomes automatic and it becomes useful. And they're using the information that they're getting through AI more strategically. Like we had LeVar Harper from Visquanta on, and we spoke to him. And their system is basically, keeping everything in line. And so their AI just keeps all the people in the dealerships responding faster and doing all the things that are helping everybody increase sales. So it just that the AI is a benefit, but unfortunately, we're still trying to fight that gap of the dealers just saying no to everything. But it's they're listening, they're paying attention. I see it become more and more as daily habits as they see the value that it brings. So that's my
So I'll jump in here for a second. I'll disagree to an extent on a couple things, Gary. AI does make mistakes. AI can give you the wrong information. Right on the disclaimer on the bottom of ChatGPT says ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check your information. Um, so it's, in my opinion, right now, and my opinion holds as much water as a colander. Um, it is it's just that it's just an opinion, neither right nor wrong. It's just how I think. I would say AI does two things right now. It's augmented intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence. It's bringing us a high level Google search, basically, when we're looking for information out there. It's also using that machine learning to replicate patterns and decipher opportunities. That's where the mundane tasks get taken away from the humans in the dealership, because we do not have the time or ability to go through thousands of records and go through an algorithm or have an actuary turn around and say, here is the top 100 people that are most likely to purchase, to buy, to service, to do this, to do that, do that. We don't have that ability. Machine learning does, and that's where it's going to help us tremendously. We have to implement it with the human side. Otherwise, we already know that people, the only thing that they like with an AI system in a dealership is the ability to purchase or to book a service appointment, because they can never get through to do a service appointment scheduler. That's the number one system that they like in a dealership with AI. So if we take all that data, we know what's going on out there and what people are wanting and doing. And I can say there's 9 of us on this call right now. Each one of us has turned around and said, agent, operator, we're trying to get away from AI when we're doing human interactions. So in that format, we have to recognize, how do we implement it? How do we get it to learn our systems? Because it has to learn our systems. It has to be taught just like a new hire has to be taught. It has to be looked upon as a new hire, and you have to go back and review its work. Otherwise, it's heading in the wrong direction. Do I believe it's going to be a absolutely game-changing innovation? Absolutely. There's new AI systems popping up left, right, and center every single day. Do we look at it and say, how do we get it involved into our dealership, and what do we choose? How do we just dip a toe in, or do we jump in with both feet when we're trying to engage with what we're looking for? The number one thing I'm going to say to a dealer is hire someone. Hire someone who actually knows what it's all about. Because we can all say we've worked in a car dealership and we can turn around and say, hey, we know how to talk to someone. We know how to close a deal. We know how to create a financing contract. We know how to write a reinsurance term. We know how to do all that where the average person wouldn't. So why don't we look at hiring someone that is an expert? And that's where I'm going to land my plane, because we need to hire the expert. There's 15 call bots. There's X amount of service writers. There's this, that, whatever. We don't know what they are, and we shouldn't even try. So hire an expert. And therefore, the plane is on the ground.
Yeah, I would like to piggyback on what Peter said, right? So AI, it has hallucination, right? Peter said. So you have to decide on, when you're building your AI platform, you have to decide on for what information you're going out to OpenAI or other AI providers and get that information, and what is your own information that you have, right? For that, you can go outside. So when you work with the vendor, like Peter said, get an expert who can clearly identify, okay, this is the information that I need to go and get it from the wide world, right? Because AI is trained, because billions and billions of rows of data has been trained. But there is some certain things that your dealer specific information, right? For those things, you have to train your model to go at that before they go to the wide world, right? So that's when there is no hallucination. You have to work with someone who can really build that thing for you, right? So there are, I'm not, I'm a vendor, right? But I'm just saying there are a lot of people who are popping up today. They say they have a solution, but you got to clearly find who really can, help you to put that thing together for you, right? That whole thing, it's not easy, to do that. And you have to start small, and you have to train this model. That's when it will eventually grow, right?
No, you're exactly right, Raja. Like it, and I just look at it and say, okay, I'm gonna go buy a house. I know what I want, how I want it. I know I want a 4 bedroom house. I know I want an acre of land. I know I want this, and this. But I still go to a real estate agent. Why? Why am I paying a real estate agent 3 to 6% for me to go and find a house? That money's obviously better in my pocket than anyone else's, but I'm not the expert. I don't know how what to look for, what codes to look for, what building codes, what zones or this or that or whatever. I'm going to the expert, and that's what we have to portray to the leadership in automotive right now.
I'd like to say something real quick, if I could. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, go right
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
Okay. I'd like to know who an expert would be in AI, because it's such a moving target, and it morphs and changes all the time. If someone came to me and said that they wanted to talk to me about this particular thing and they're expert in it, I wouldn't even set an appointment with that person.
See
That's just
ya.
me thinking.
Yeah, I can understand that, but there are specific companies that have been formed with these intelligent individuals out there that are AI specific, knowing all the. I think there's 7 levels of AI. They know. There's so many terms. I'm so basic in it,
Right.
and to the point where I'm at machine learning and this and that, but they're on different levels already, and they on either they're talking the talk to get the money, or they're walking the walk because they understand it and they can prove it. So it's kind of like, and I'll go to the point of, you have a 19-year-old kid with a laptop that can plug it into your OBD2 reader of your car and reprogram your car to give you an extra 30 horsepower. That's what I'm liking it to. He's a 19-year-old kid. How would I know that he's an expert? You just have to have a little trust and faith that and the reputation behind it, that he's the right person.
So to answer your question, Russell, right? So one thing we do is, first question we ask is, give to any dealership or any customer we're working with, we just ask them, right, what information you have today that you want us to train the AI model first, right? So for example, I'll give you a simple example, right? A dealership hours, right? Let's take that for example. Very simple thing. Okay, so sales is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That data is out there in Google, right? If I go and I can pick that information from Google, from internet, right? So I can do that. Or I can, if a dealership wants to be very specific, I want the sales hours to be only from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., right? So that is the information that I want my AI model to get trained, right? So I want to go to that information first before I go outside and get, if I don't find that information with the information that dealership provides, yes, I go outside, right? So when a person comes and says, "Yes, tomorrow I'm going to give you an agent," that's not that's not a good answer, because it will take time to build it. You have to go through a lot of testing iterations to make sure that it is providing the right answer before you're opening.
I don't need a receipt. Thank you.
Russell, you're not muted. Did you mean to be muted?
I'm sorry. Yes.
No worries.
My bad. No telling what I was talking about.
No worries, Russell.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Raja.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, like, you got to, David just joined, actually. In fact, in the clubhouse today, he just mentioned about how he was vetting the vendor. He had put together a questionnaire and go through all those things, right? So similarly, you have to go through a proper vetting process and find out how long they've been in business, what kind of security protocol they use. Can they build a RAG model? All those things you have to put in place. Again, it's to answer your question, it's not easy, but there are many people just popping up every day, and you have to do your due diligence before you can sign up with someone, right?
Can I jump in for a sec?
Yep.
So I just want to recap what Peter said and then what Raja said, because I pinged David to make sure he got in here too, because this is all good stuff. And he knows some really relevant stuff that I think would be of immense value. So the thing is Peter, I agree with you but I don't think you need to hire an expert, because to Russell's point, I don't think there are any experts and there never will be an AI. However, the reason I'm saying this is because you guys aren't even aware yet of my other company that I launched about 9 months ago, EIQ Performance Solutions. But my CTO built me an app for call review where I can dump in 1,000 calls and spit out the analysis with my BDC brain and everything else, and sentiment, everything that the big boys do in about 4 minutes. And I have that product, but I simply haven't launched it because things are changing so quickly. I don't want to be in there and then with a product that's been oversaturated, right, or out in the market. So I like the niche things, the things that are really going to make a difference. So I'm kind of in stealth mode, and like I've used it for my BDC manager clients, and then we also have another app that he built where I can put in performance, and I can put in reporting data and get a performance analysis based on all of the criteria I look for in this and the KPIs for BDC performance. So I think that it doesn't necessarily. The reason I say that is because now Raja and I are working on something together, and I'm working with a couple of different AI companies on different things, and they are things that are humans and AI together, because to Peter's point, you got to consider the human side. You absolutely do. But Peter, I believe that someone like Raja and I are building this thing together. And also my CTO with EIQ, he and I have been working, almost a year, and every time he'll build something, he'll need me to tweak it, and he'll have to. And so that's the point. You have to teach it, but you also have to build it. And it's the same premise, I suppose, kind of like building your ChatGPT Pro stuff like David does, which he'll speak in a minute. But my whole point is that I think we can become those I don't want to call them experts. I don't like that word. We need to be the human side. We need to be like what I'm working on with Michael from like another person, is that we want to be the backup for the AI. When you're saying operator, 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 I want to speak to a damn human. I scream at it all the time. Who else does? It gets me. So you know that and why is that? Because the AIs are inefficient in many cases. They get what they pay for or whatever. They don't have it built the right way for different things that might happen. So they don't have the right responses. That's why you're going human, 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 operator, operator. So the thing is, if we build them, if you build it, they will come, right? If you build it the right way, they will stay. That's what I got. I think we can be the glue, Peter, that connects the AI companies with our dealership humans. We can teach them and then coach them. That's what I think, but that's what I wanted to throw in.
I think AI is just such a flashy thing right now in term. I almost get sick of hearing the term AI because everybody is an AI now. Everybody's company is an AI. Doesn't matter if it's my SEO company, my pay-per-click provider, my CRM, my chat widget, my service CRM, my phone system, everything is an AI. And you know what? And the thing is that I guess in a way, a lot of things always were an AI because AI technically is a software. It's a tool. So, I mean, the first AIs were created, heck, I don't know if it was American Airlines or Delta. Back in the day when you scheduled airline tickets, they used a legal pad. And they took that legal pad and they actually just wrote down your name and put it on a legal pad and what seat you were assigned. So then, you know, in the 60s, or in the late 60s, they kind of built a software tool. And, you know, that was kind of the start to building a software, right? Later on, it progressed in over many years into being an AI. Ironically, I only sparked that thought because Peter had posted something about Southwest Airlines and how they're a little bit more disingenuous now. But even with that, you know, they play the Moneyball game. They kind of see where seats are filling, what airports do they have people trying to buy a seat, and then they start raising up our prices. So I guess it's supply and demand, and AI is really good at balancing that data sheet on everybody. But when you talk about automotive, I think Raja said it best a second ago, talking about you have to vet out the different vendors and make sure our security protocols are working, our tech stack works. You know, Wendy just explained how nobody's really an expert, and I'll tell you why nobody's an expert. I've sat in 3 meetings today, and different AI companies that I've sat in meetings with them, and every one of them's technology is outdated. They're AI agents that are wonderful in the market, right? Everybody thinks they're state of the art. They're outdated. And they all know this. And they're all freaking out because they need to reinvest. They need to get more angel investors right now because AI is going crazy. And everything somebody comes up with, somebody's coming up with something better. But the biggest problem, and this is where I agree with Bill Schomburg and Ridgeback, is simply because of the security issues that we're seeing. There's so many vulnerabilities that we already have. And now, again, AI is opening that door even further. And it's really scary. So, I mean, this week I'm meeting with 4 different security companies pertaining to AI and different solutions. I have a meeting with the people at SOC 2 and trying to explain to me why their certificates are so valuable and why they're not compared to other people. You know, there's a bunch of other people coming out saying, I can certify your AI right now. And because I certify, it's good. But you know, the most messed up comment that I heard today from a dealer principal? I mentioned security and stuff. And he said, I don't care. It's what I have insurance for. And
Yeah,
I
but
went,
the
that's messed up.
insurance won't even come close.
No kidding.
to
I know.
what the payout will be.
I got to meet him tomorrow. And
Yeah.
he's like,
So-
stop by. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
So
we'll go out for
here
lunch.
I have $10 million liability insurance on my data.
Okay.
Good. your payout will be $250 million. What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Hey, David, we agree
Please.
that some dealers lack for sense. When you guys are done, let's make sure we hear from Zach, who's not always a frequent guest, and our girl Shannon.
Oh, definitely need to hear from Zach and Shannon. And again, I was just jumping in for a
Oh,
second.
no.
No, we love to hear from you. You're always
Yeah,
welcome.
absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't want to take over the show and talk about all this, but it blew my mind. So I had to turn to you guys and ask, do dealers really think that their security is enough, and their insurance is going to protect them? Because I couldn't imagine someone saying, hey, it's going to cost $700-800 a month to have a secondary security company come in there and help prevent these cyber intrusions and not eliminate them, but help mitigate them. Right. And I'm like, your insurance can't cover the loss of your trust with your customers.
Yep.
I said, what are you going to do there? And he's like, I don't know. Come talk to me about it. And I said, listen, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just was calling to say hi, and we got on the topic. And he's like, no, stop and see me for lunch. And I said, well, I'll stop and visit you after my doctor's appointment tomorrow. But I really think that they're crazy not to.
David, if they didn't learn anything from CDK,
Yeah,
then
it
crazy.
just crushed us.
Well,
Went back to them.
I'll tell you one thing. They talk about market compression. That is going to be the first area of market compression because it'll take them out of business. So it's there. Zach, you're not wearing a sweater today. What's wrong? Is it warm in Idaho?
I just wanted to hear you say something about it. So I was trying to do the opposite of what usually I would do.
So let me get this right. David knows dumb dealers, and now Peter Smith is a fashion consultant for Zach McVicker. So you got to tune in every week, or you might miss something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if he's a consultant more than just a critic. I think it's what it is. It's there's a difference between the two.
Someone has to keep you in line. But
so what are we talking about? What's the
we're
topic?
talking about AI in the dealership. Is it the big bad monster that everyone says it is?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? And we'll throw this at a human capital format for you, so that it comes up your alley. AI, and I was lucky enough to use David's AI, one of his GPTs, to analyze my resume, and it spit out a answer to me that I was shocked from reading my resume of who I was. What do you think in the formatting of utilizing AI? And I'll go to your system where you're measuring people doing specific outputs into their systems, meaning that they've accomplished so many tasks and whatever, and they're going through their career path. Now, you have a high performer who isn't doing the testing that you asked them to do, or you have a low performer that has accomplished everything that you've asked them to do. Where an AI is picking out the high performer and saying the high performer is not doing the job. What do you think about that?
I think it's what do you do with it, and I think that's the challenge. I think that AI, anyways, it's interesting, right? Because we say, like I just said, it's the challenge, but it's the opportunity, right? It's AI is an opportunity for us to be able to do more with less work, less effort. But the challenge is, right? How do you get the dealers to understand that, to leverage that, to see the value into that? And I think that's really more than anything. So my question to that now is like, what do you do with it? And I think that's the problem. They don't know what to do with it. And I think a lot of times when we talk about AI, we assume, we really do. We assume that they know and understand even the basic levels of what we understand, what we have learned. And I think that the challenge is they've never used AI. They like ChatGPT, they think it's a search engine. They don't understand what ChatGPT is. And because they're not, I think, a part of the conversations in a lot of cases, they're not, we don't know where the breakdown is, right? And so David, I think, was just talking a minute ago about he couldn't believe where the dealer's like, that's what I got insurance for. It's not the fact that I think that they don't care about these things. It's just they've got so much on their plate and they don't know how to run their days as it is already. That it's another topic that's challenged for them. It's not easy. It's something that they don't pick up on quickly. They don't know how they would utilize it on their day-to-day operations. And that's what I was saying earlier this morning on, I think, Wendy's call. Like, how does it change their day? Like, meaning, like, if I'm saying, if I know I got to get in my car, I got to start my car, and I can visually see me getting in the car and starting my car, pushing the button, whatever it is, what's different about their day? Now, I can wake up and this thing literally carries me into my car. So it's like I sit down on this chair and it like walks me down into the steps. It puts me into the car. I don't have to use my legs. I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm trying to say though, it's like they don't understand the application of AI. And so I think that's really what to the point is, okay, now it assesses them. I can see now the people that are my high performers and I can see the people of my low performers. But what do I do with that information? And I think that's the thing is the application of the AI output. Like, what's it help them do? What's it take away from their plate? And how do they see it from their point of view? I think that's really the focus in my mind. It's like that's the challenge. That's the breakdown, in my opinion.
Excellent. Shannon, what's your thoughts, please?
Hey, um, thanks, Larry. And yeah, I think getting over that fear is really, the first step, and helping dealers understand how this is going to make their lives easier. It's going to make their teams' lives easier, and just showing the simple path to that, right? Just sitting down with their staff and showing them what this AI tool is going to do for them and how it's going to work and exactly what their steps are to keep it successful is what's needed. And then we're all adult learners, so repetition, lots of repetition, and documentation on how that's supposed to work and what success looks like when you're using AI assistance will really, I think, benefit. Yeah, that's what I got. I'm dropping Mike's mic.
Yep.
You know,
Go ahead,
Mike.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I put it into ChatGPT the other day. How do we introduce an AI media site to a business decision maker in the car dealership industry? And it spit back, bypass skepticism, speak to their hidden wants, authority, exposure, differentiation, and future pace them to the dealership's growth story. I found that pretty interesting. That the first thing it said is bypass or get skepticism, and that's fine. You can be as skeptic as you want. That's why I insist on showing them rather than telling them, because telling them it's like yeah. But when you show them, they go, wait, what did I just see? So it's the difference, and I'm a visual guy, so people are auditory and all that kind of stuff, but I'm a visual guy, and I'll take them on that journey any day of the week. Larry, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Well, it's going to be interesting. When you talk about the human side of AI and you combine it, I wonder what's going to get lost in the shuffle. Because it seems like as human beings, we find terrific things that work and then we abandon them for no reason. Shannon, this is going to sound very elemental and such a high level talk, but I'm on a crusade to recruit and train, and I got a little lucky and worked kind of hard and have a terrific crew of people today. Terrific. But three or four of them, if you don't reach out to me, I reach out to you. And it really kind of was interesting to me, or stupid to me, that I called a couple people and it went to their voicemail, and I was indicated that the voicemail was full. Now, if you think about it, since nobody seems to have a landline anymore, and everybody's trying to sell something or buy something or be notified, why the hell wouldn't you clean out your voicemail? And it seems whether it's low tech or high tech, eventually we get used to something and either we don't use it properly or we bypass it altogether. Right? Is everybody on this show aware that somebody bought something, it was a novelty, it was the greatest thing on earth, and a year later they don't even look at it or use it or touch it? So I think my fear is the same fear as everybody's, or maybe I'm extrapolating it onto you, that we'll lose some of the human stuff in translation. And then while the AI stuff is terrific and perfect, and I get all that, it still has to be cross-referenced and checked by human beings, because I know if we rely strictly on AI, we're going to have a problem. It's the old thing, who's overseeing the overseer? So I think it's going to be really interesting as things unfold. What do we keep? How the smarter dealers are going to work together with the human side and the AI side, and go from there. Zach, you're going to laugh at me. You and me always go round and round. Um, I sat down with my people, had a great session. Who's got a pen? Half of them didn't. Now, I realize I'm the dinosaur on this program, but I'll tell you what, I don't make too many mistakes and I don't forget anything because I write it down. And you'll find that most of the people around us have memories like sieves, and they exacerbate it by typing everything into their phone along with the 7 million spam messages they get. So if you can bypass a pen, if you can have a phone and be so freaking lazy that you don't even clean out your messages, and keep in mind, folks, these are people looking for jobs. How frightening is it? Hey, I want a job, and I call people that quick. It's they think I have spyware on my phone because I reach out to them so quickly. So it's obviously way more sophisticated than a pen. It's more sophisticated than an answer machine. But how long will it be till we lean on it as a crutch, eliminate the human end of it, and get into a situation where we're really not looking at it carefully? Because I think we'll all agree, if you're not inspecting and expecting, things can go horribly wrong. Plus, I'm worried it's going to become too much of a crutch. That's a little scary.
Well, Larry, to that point though, this is there's got to be a mixture of both. I mean, like you talk about that. I still write everything down. Like, you know what I mean? I use a pen and paper every single day. This is the checklist that I start off with, that I've got to print it off every single day. Even though I'm a tech guy, right? I use a checklist. I use my stuff for my notes, and so it's like, there's so that's it's
Zach,
habits.
Zach, I've never been an EV guy. You're never going to confuse me with John Ellis. And we're seeing EVs take their inevitable turn to the left or to the right, and gas vehicles aren't going anywhere. But do we all agree, and we predicted it on this show a year ago, that the big rise we're seeing and we're going to see is on hybrids? You and me are hybrids. I run my whole damn business off my phone. I deal with hundreds and hundreds of candidates, but I still write stuff down. You're as sharp a tech guy as there is. You're writing things down. I think if you're limited to any one thing, any one facility, any one method, I just think you're missing out. I really do. And I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think the more you vary what you're capable of doing, and the more things you pull into you, I think the better it's just going to be for everybody. Because a lot of people, a lot younger than me, have completely excluded a pen and paper. It's alien to them.
Hey, I was told my first job, a system based on memory is destined to fail. And that's kind of what sunk into me. But it's like, that's why I go back to what I was saying before. It's how do we set our days up, right? What are the habits that we've got to form? What are the habit changes that we've got to instill? Because that's really what we're talking about. Is like anything that we talk about with AI, or training, or even marketing setup and structure. I mean, anything. It doesn't matter. BDC stuff. I mean, it's habits. It really is habits. It's the decision making that we do on a daily basis, and it's like, how do we make it easier to make better decisions? And decisions are the questions that I ask, the
Zach,
things that I say.
I had a nice person reach out to me and they wanted to talk to me. And you guys all know how easy I am to reach. And I said, sure. How about 4 o'clock today? Because I had a call at 6. Of course, I would never do anything to circumvent what we're doing now. And I never got the call. And I was surprised because they really seemed interested. And then at 4:30, I get, oh, I'm sorry, I typed it in wrong. Well, maybe if you wrote it down in your calendar the same way I did, maybe you would have remembered it. Again, I'm just dialing back to the elements. This AI stuff in so many ways is terrific. And people are adapting it so it's funnier and it's more real and it's more human, but it still doesn't mean you want to replace human beings.
Doesn't it come down to still the same old thing as in people, process, and product?
Yep.
And it hasn't changed. I think I've heard you talk about that before. So that's why I brought it up. I'm like, wait, he talks about this. So, I mean, when I think about, yeah, it can help people, but you still need to have a skilled, I mean, you can have AI that helps people, right? But the people still need to have a skill level.
No, but David, wait a minute. I love where you're coming. Let me just interrupt, then I'll jump back off.
No worries. No. I want to hear it. I want to learn.
You said you gotta do the runaround. Imagine what happens when we substitute physical labor, physical effort for modern technology. Excuse me, everybody, for just getting political for 1 second, just for 1 second. Every day I breathe a little easier because the old regime is out. And on their way out the door, those pinheads, and I don't want to get any letters from the Anti-Pinhead Defamation League, but those pinheads said, and we're going to try to fund everybody being on Ozempic. How about if we fund everybody getting exercise and eating healthier? If you're attacking the disease rather than the symptoms that led to the disease, I write everything down. My wife thinks I'm insane. Well, I am insane. I guess that's a moot point.
You are insane.
But guess what? Yeah, let me say this. Who just said I was insane? I was at a dealership and they were busting my chops. Hey, look, it's the dinosaur. Meantime, they were completely shut down from CDK and I got 7 people hired because my stuff was all writing. So when we start pulling ourselves away from the basic things of human beings, the basic tenets of being able to examine your work, backing it up, being able to exist in the technical world as well as being able to write something, we're in good shape. The problem with, listen, you and me are in a hurry and you say, Larry, I got to go. I'm getting you the job. Just give me anything. Just throw something on AI. Okay, I'm fine. I'm on the airport yard, no problem. But when you get to the point that people can't express themselves, they can't write a term paper without AI's help. Look what you're doing to their long-term psyche. I say it all the time on the show. I'm sorry if I'm a bore. I'm tired of going to a restaurant and seeing 4 people and all 4 of them on their iPhones. Then why bother going out? If you take away the basic element of communication, Zach, Wendy, my boy Gary, Raja, in our business, how could you circumvent communication? Man, the first thing I do with people, but Zach, you've seen my act. You saw me get 40 people in that room. I tell people, you're not hired yet, but I'm the world's greatest trainer. You're going to laugh. You're going to learn. Get your butt into my class. And they come. What would happen if it was a robot going, you must show up at 2 o'clock?
Larry.
Nobody's showing up.
Yeah.
Larry, I just Googled this. .com. What era was the .com era? Can anyone, what years were that?
Well, I know in the 80s, a whole bunch of .com people that were worth $100 million are now living in their mother's basement because they owe $17 million and they had 11 bankruptcies.
It died in 08.
Well, it was basically 95 to 2000 is when it started, and we're not talking about it. That's going to be AI. AI is the next .com. There's going to be some stuff that sticks around, and most will become obsolete, and they'll move on to something else. And
That's like a cloud. Cloud was like that like a few years back. Everybody was trying to get to the cloud.
and they need good, smart, educated people like everybody here to help them through the changes.
If Gary's right,
retailing.
and he's a very bright guy, and this AI goes out of business, everybody call me. I will charge you more because pencils are getting more expensive, but I'll be glad to write everything down for everybody.
Digital retailing was the thing that was going to take everybody's job.
Yep.
And I just kind of laughed. All the managers around me at Bill Jacobs, oh my God, digital retailing, what do they need us for in desking deals? I said, the customers have to engage with it and complete it. I said, and then when the OEM gets done litigating it, we're getting emails to tell us to contact a customer and they haven't even started shopping yet, really. I said, we're just going to over engage and enrage people. I said, that's what digital retailing is going to do. I said, but all it is a digital Foursquare for you guys that don't know how to, deal with that. I said, and then they build a Foursquare product online and then nobody reads the damn lead as to where
How
the
about
customer's at in the journey.
factories are going to start dealing directly with the public?
Oh,
Does
yeah,
everybody agree that the new car managers, bright as they are, screw up 1/3 of the orders anyway? It's the wrong package. They didn't read the code right. Can you imagine now you're paying for a vehicle and it comes and it's completely wrong?
It's happened.
It's crazy.
That's the training.
Hey, Larry, I wrote down something.
Is it on a napkin? Is it
No,
on your
no,
bed?
it's not on a Bev nap.
What's it say, Mike?
It says fear is a motivator. All right. Name it, tame it, write it, and fear becomes hope. That's it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Mike
I
is
found that interesting. I wrote it down.
Mike is officially quitting his job and getting a job with Hallmark Cards. He'll be putting all kinds of witticisms inside the paperwork. Listen, the hell
You
with
call
that.
that witticism?
The only time I quote a Democrat, Roosevelt had it right. The only thing to fear is fear itself. When you stop sweating and say the hell with it, I'm no better and no worse than anybody else, and I'm going to put my shoulder into this. It's amazing what we can do when we stop worrying about things and just do them.
Well, I'm the one that gets the quotes wrong, or who said them. Now, quiz time. When you're going through hell,
that would be Winston Churchill. When you're going through hell, keep going.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you guys know it, but when Mike was on Jeopardy, I had the thing in his ear when I was feeding him all the answers.
Yeah, I couldn't get that buzzer to work.
Well, that's because you're not technical, Mike. How many things? It's bad enough I got to help McVicker with all his computers, and there's only so much of me to go around, my buddy.
Amen.
Who haven't we heard from, and who would like to speak up? As usual, you folks have provided lively conversation and insight. And by the way, we appreciate the hell out of you coming in, all of you. It's very nice to see you all.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Well, I'm all good.
What's going on with you, Peter? Tomorrow?
Just tomorrow night I have the Women in Automotive Clubhouse Room, which I have Shasta Haddock as my co-host, and she's invited two really amazing women. She's invited, obviously, Mabel, who we all know, but she's also invited Chrissy Burton. And if you don't know who Chrissy Burton is, Chrissy works for the Rohrman Group, and she is with I believe their Hyundai store, and she's averaging 70 plus units a month.
Oh, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
not 100.
Oh, yeah, that's that's pretty damn close to 1,000 cars a year herself.
That's a whole dealership. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And she does it herself. She does everything herself. So
I love it. Does anybody else have any thoughts? We Raja, Shannon, David, Zach, my man Gary, and Mike, Peter, obviously, we just appreciate you. We like seeing you guys every week, and we're picking up a lot of stuff from everybody. Anybody have any final thoughts or anything? No. Okay. Please stay healthy. Please take care of yourselves. We'll keep coming up with fun topics, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday. And obviously, tune into Peter's show tomorrow night. The Disrupt Your Show's always interesting and always brings a lot of good people together. We thank you so much.
Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.
Guys, have a great week.
Thank
Take
you.
care.